Hi and welcome to ECAE's 6th Annual Autism Day. Today I will be talking about communication and giving you some top tips for helping your child to communicate. So just a quick introduction to who I am. My name is Dr. Michelle Kelly. I'm a board certified behaviour analyst. I'm a chartered psychologist with the Psychological Society of Ireland. I'm an associate professor at Emirates College for Advanced Education, or ECAE, which is based in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, where I am also the program coordinator for the Applied Behaviour Analysis, or ABA, graduate programs. At ECAE, we offer a 1-year postgraduate diploma in ABA and a 2-year Master of Education in ABA program. Both programs contain verified course sequences for the Association for Behaviour Analysis International. And if you are interested in either of these programs, my email address will be available at the end of the presentation. So today I want to talk about how every moment is a learning opportunity, and I want to give you some top tips of how we can capture those moments to really promote communication at home with our children. Now, before words, you may see that your child starts to initiate some sort of points with their index finger. We really want to encourage and praise and reinforce this pointing. If you see your child indicating towards something, perhaps it's something they're showing an interest in, please try to praise and reinforce that and give them the item it is that they are pointing towards. Equally with signs, some of you may be interested in baby sign language. You may have used that with your child, or perhaps you're using Arabic Sign Language with your children right now. And again, we want to encourage and praise these signs. So throughout this presentation, when I'm talking about communication, I'm not just talking about vocal speech. I'm talking about any functional form that your child is using to communicate their needs and their wants to you. This may be using gestures like pointing, signs, and using picture exchange. They may have some vocal utterances, or they may have some speech. Again, I'm talking about anything that allows the child to communicate with you. So when teaching and increasing language and communication, we want to create as many opportunities as we can for communication within physical environments. Now, these environments may be at home, or in your community, or at school, or at, Tata's house, or wherever the environment is that you wish for your child to communicate. So what we want to avoid is we want to avoid preempting. Now, what does preempting mean? Preempting means doing or saying something before our child even has the chance to do it. So this really takes two forms. So the first form is environmental preempting. This is where we physically make everything easily accessible and available. So for example, when they're sitting down for lunch, they have their cup, they have their fork, they have their spoon, everything is within reach, so they never have the chance to use their communication to ask for something that they need. So again, giving them everything that they need within easy reach. The second form is verbal preempting, and again, this is saying something so that the child doesn't have to communicate, so we don't expect them to communicate, or we don't teach them the next step, or we just take the lead and don't allow them the opportunity to initiate. So it might look like, oh, you need me to tie your shoes. So again, me talking for them. Or if someone asks my child, how are you today? Oh, they're grand, they had a tough day, they didn't sleep well last night. So again, not taking that moment to stand back and allowing our child the opportunity to engage in that communication. So we need to remember that every moment is a learning opportunity, and really it's up to us to become more mindful of those opportunities and doing our best to capture those opportunities to really help our child succeed. So let's dive in now to our top tips for helping our children to communicate. Tip number 1, making favorite items inaccessible. And this comes back to avoiding that environmental preempting that I spoke about earlier. So instead of having all their favorite snacks, their favorite toys, all their favorite items within easy reach, we want to make it inaccessible. Now, how might you do this? You might place their favorite items out of reach but within view, and it's important that they can still see it, so that if they can see their favorite item, it's going to increase their motivation to want to communicate that they want access to that item. We don't want to automatically offer the items. We don't want to give them freebies. So again, there's different ways you can do this. You could simply have the items on a high shelf. You could have them if you don't have shelves, that's okay. You could put them in clear plastic boxes that are closed tight, that have the lids closed tight and put away. So again, the child isn't able to access the item easily without asking help or asking for the item or communicating that they would like to engage with that item. Okay, so again, you're capturing that moment, setting up that opportunity so that your child can engage in a communicative response with you. And again, this may simply be a point to the item, it may be a sign for the particular item, it may be a picture exchange, or it may be a vocal utterance where they say help, or they say I want, or they may say, may I have a cookie please? Whatever level of communication they are at. So top tip 1, make their favorite items inaccessible. Don't give it away for free. Top tip number 2, give small portions. Now, as you can see with this little chap, he was given all the pasta in one go. One good tip for, again, capturing those opportunities to teach communication is instead of giving them the whole thing at once, give them the item in small little portions. So if it's a drink, don't give them a whole cup. Instead, give them a little swallow. Once they have the swallow, then they have to ask for more, or they have to sign for more. Then you can give them more. Again, the communicative response might be, may I have some more juice please? Again, it's about knowing the level of the child that you're working with, and expecting them to communicate. And that's the point. We want to expect them to communicate rather than just giving them the whole bowl of pasta for free. So again, little bite-sized, little portions so that they need to ask you for more. Top tip number 3, actively enjoy favorite food and drinks in front of your child. So again, it's about creating opportunities to encourage or to motivate your child to want to communicate with you. So one way you could do this is your child may be sitting there and perhaps they like orange juice, like this girl in this photo. So you start drinking orange juice and you rub your belly and you're saying, orange juice. Or maybe you eat an apple in front of them when they love apples, whatever the case may be. But you do it very enthusiastically in front of them, again increasing that motivation in your child so that they then might engage in that communicative response to indicate that, you know what, they want the juice or they want the apple. And again, if they don't know how to do that, you're setting up the opportunity where you can help them, you can prompt them, you can guide them to. So it might be simply you guide their finger to point towards the juice and then you give them the juice. Or maybe you try to sound it out in juice and perhaps they just start saying j. And that's fine, you can reinforce that and then you can slowly shape that up so that it slowly sounds closer and closer to the final product, which is juice, which you then reinforce by giving them the juice. So again, top tip number 3, actively enjoying food and drink in front of them. This could also be a toy. You could be actively enjoying playing with the toy in front of them to again set up that opportunity for them to want to ask you to have the item. Top tip number 4, create the need for help or create the need for assistance. So set it up so that your child has to ask for help or has to ask for assistance. Some ways you could do that, you could give them a favorite toy that needs help to work. Maybe there's a part missing, maybe batteries are missing, or maybe there's a puzzle with a couple of pieces missing. And again, it's setting up that motivation so your child can seek your help in order to play with the toy. Another thing, let's say you're giving them a little bag of crackers, for example. Instead of just preempting, coming back to that word again, instead of just opening the packet and handing it to them, hand it to them closed. You know that they can't open it, but that's okay. You give them the closed packet. And again, that captures that learning opportunity and gives your child that chance to communicate that they need help. Now that might be, open please, or it might be a sign, or it might be a picture exchange. But again, it's giving an extra opportunity for your child to have to ask you for assistance. Similarly with putting on clothes and shoes. Now, I'm a mother of 2, so I know sometimes you just need to get out that door, you need to get to work, you need to get them to school, you need to get out, and sometimes it's just easier to get the shoes on them and out we go. But when we have the time, and it's about really us trying to make that time and planning for that time where we can stand back and firstly try to give them that chance to do the task independently, to allow them to self-manage. If they're not quite there yet, if they're not quite able to put on their shoes and socks by themselves or tie up the buttons on their shirt, then again, standing back and allowing them the opportunity to communicate that they do need your help in fulfilling this task, in completing this task. So again, and if they don't know how to ask for help, this provides us with the opportunity to prompt them and to guide them about how to appropriately ask for help. A good one that I've heard from some friends with teenage sons and daughters is turning off the Wi-Fi, because you know that turning off that Wi-Fi, that motivation to come and ask you to turn it back on is going to be very high. So again, it gives your children the opportunity, the chance to come and communicate directly with you in order to ask you to turn that Wi-Fi back on. Top tip number 5 is likely something that you're all doing anyway, but just to put it in here as a good one for again capturing a learning opportunity to promote communication. And here's where we interrupt an activity that you're doing together. So for example, there in the picture on the left, that lady with her son on the swing. So instead of just pushing, you pull them up, you hold them, and you wait, and they might giggle or they might laugh. And if they don't have that communication yet, you give them a prompt. You help them. You say go or push or higher or whatever it is that you want them to say. Or perhaps you're going to do a fill-in response. So for example, 1, 2, 3, and you wait for your child to say go, and then you let them go. Whatever the communicative responses that you're looking for, this is a really great opportunity, because as they're being held up nice and high, it's fun, they're excited, and they're super motivated to swing. So this is a really great opportunity to get some responses out of them. Equally with other activities, there's lots of activities you can do this with. Bubbles is another fantastic one. You blow some bubbles and then you stop. So you interrupt the cooperative activity. And again, you wait for that blow or pop or more, whatever response it is that you're looking for. And as soon as you get that response, you reinforce it straight away by blowing the bubbles and giving them what it is that they are looking for. Top tip number 6, offer something you know they don't like. So indicating no is a really important skill for children, all children, to learn. It's very difficult for some children to indicate no. We get, a lot of strops, a lot of this arm folding, tantrum behavior, ripping things up, throwing things on the floor, storming off. But in being able to appropriately indicate no is an extremely valuable communication tool for all children to have. So again, it depends on the level of communication in your child. You may simply want them to shake their head, maybe shake their finger, say no, or again, it may be something like, no, I don't like that, no, thank you, etc. Whatever it is, whatever point you are on the communication journey with your child, but offering something they don't like, and doing this often to give them the opportunity to practice the skill of appropriately saying no or indicating no, so that then when they say no, you can reinforce that, be like, okay, and you can remove the item. And you can start doing this from a very young age. Babies very early on know what toys they want to play with, know what dummies they want, know what food they want to eat. So you can simply hold it out. If they say no, you simply take it away again. And again, it's about the child learning that, oh, you know what? If I just shake my head, I don't have to do that, or I don't have to eat that, and that's okay. I don't need to take the food and throw it on the floor. All I need to do is shake my head, and that's enough. And it's important for us as the parents, as the teachers, as the caretaker, whoever we may be, to make sure that we reinforce that appropriate indication that they do not want something. Top tip number 7 is offering choice. Choice is a massively powerful strategy for preventing problem behaviors with all children. Offering choice can start from a very early age, again from when they're just a couple of months old, and it can be as simple as holding up 2 lighty up toys, or maybe one toy that lights up and makes lots of noise, and something that's not really fun at all, so that the baby learns that, oh, you know what, if I kind of reach out for the toy that lights up, I actually get it. So they learn that they can have an effect on their environment, that if I reach for this, I can get it. But equally, they need to learn that if they reach for the thing that's not fun, they also get that. So it's important that they learn the consequences of making the choices. It's important as a parent that we don't say, oh, but I think they really wanted this one, so I'm going to give them this one. That's confusing. So just make sure that you give your child the item it is that they actually selected. Now, this choice can be offered across the day, and really you can offer multiple choices across the day, from the most simple of things like, do you want to wear the blue socks or the green socks? Do you want to eat with the big spoon or the small spoon? Do you want to eat with a cup or a glass? Do you want 5 pieces of apple or 4 pieces of apple? And really, this can go on across the day. Now, should your child be offered a choice for absolutely everything? Of course not. There's some things that they just simply have to do. They have to go to school. They have to brush their teeth. They have to go to bed. But if they've been given multiple opportunities throughout the day of making decisions for themselves, they are less likely, and research shows this, they are less likely to engage in problem behaviors when they don't have a choice. So again, it's about giving your children a sense of control, a sense of power, a sense of, making a difference in their own lives. So offer choices as much as you can across the day. Top tip number 8, sabotage your child's expectation on purpose. So this is a fun one. You know, you can be engaged in an activity and on purpose you give them something that obviously doesn't fit. So for example, they might be eating their lunch and you might hand them a paintbrush to eat. Or you might be doing a puzzle and you give them, you know, a piece from a very different puzzle and say, here you go. And, you know, your child will be like, huh? You know, and they'll get a surprise. And it really just gives that fun opportunity for your child to say, this isn't a fork or this isn't the puzzle. And again, it's setting up those really lovely, fun opportunities for your child to engage in a lovely communicative response with you. And again, it may simply be a shake of the head that they're doing, or, you know, it might be a picture exchange or a sign saying, I don't understand, or you're silly, or they may simply laugh. But again, it's about capturing that opportunity to engage in that communication between the speaker or the communicator and the listener, which is you. Top tip number 9 is similar to 8, and this is where you can surprise your child. You know, you might be sitting and suddenly you drop something or you accidentally spill something. And again, stop and wait and give your child a chance to engage in a communicative response with you, like, uh-oh, or silly me, or oops, or whatever the case may be. But again, it's about making communication fun. It's about taking those opportunities and turning them into communication chances and opportunities in your day. Top tip number 10, labeling emotions in the moment. Now, you know, a lot of people learn about emotions from flashcards, you know, and there's a picture of a child looking happy, or there's an emoji even, and it's like, I'm happy, I'm happy. And that is really difficult for children, and especially children with autism, to connect the facial expression with the actual emotion. So one useful guideline for teaching emotions is actually labeling emotions in the moment. So if your child is having a hard time, you know, maybe they bang their toe and they're crying, you know, label that emotion. Oh, so let's say his name is Abdullah. Oh, Abdullah is feeling sad, Abdullah hurt his toe. Or, you know, he's laughing on the swing. Oh, Abdullah is happy. Abdullah is excited, Abdullah is surprised. Like labeling it in the moment as the child is clearly experiencing the emotion. So it'll be very clear when your child is angry or sad or happy. So in that moment, capture that opportunity and label the emotion in that moment. Similarly, if you're watching cartoons on TV, you can also label it. So this is Daniel Tiger. So again, Daniel Tiger is a really great cartoon for dealing with emotions. And for example, if you were watching this on the TV, you could be, oh, look, Daniel Tiger feels sad. So again, labeling things as the child is experiencing them can really connect the label with the actual feeling. Top tip number 11, read, 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 and interact. So yes, of course, it's super, super important to read, but not just read. We want to also try to engage our children in the stories. So this is a really great story called The Boy Who Knew the Mountains. So again, as you're reading the story, you know, you can be really looking for targets that you're working on with your child. Maybe you're working on colors. So you can be like, show me the blue sky, you know, show me the brown mountain, show me the green tree, or, you know, these kinds of things. Or maybe you're working on shapes or verbs, or maybe your child is at a different point in their communication story, and maybe they're, you know, answering WH questions. Oh, who do you think that boy is? Where do you think they're going? So again, reading is super important, but going beyond just the words of the book and really making it an interactive, collaborative, cooperative activity, and again, giving your child those opportunities to communicate. Top tip number 12, expand on their communication. So your child, let's say his name is Adam, might say ball. Okay, so instead of just saying, yeah, ball, or good job, Adam, what could we say? So the next time Adam says ball, some things that we could say instead are, yes, I see a ball too. Or yes, that's a small red ball. Or yes, it's a ball. You can bounce a ball or you can kick it. Or yes, that's Adam's ball. It's Adam's toy. So one way we can expand on communication is by using things called features of the item, function, or the class. So when the mama said, yes, that's a small red ball, that's a feature of the ball, of the item. If she says, yes, it's a ball, you can bounce the ball or you can kick it, that's what the item does. So that's the function. Or you could talk about the class. Yes, that's Adam's ball, it's Adam's toy. So a ball is a toy. So this is a good way of expanding different communicative responses from your child. You can maybe talk about some feature, some function, or some class related to the item. So here's some ideas of what you can say when you're playing. You can talk about the size of the object, the shape, the color, the action, a pronoun like this is mine, this is yours, the sound of it, the position, the number. There's lots of different things lots of different features we can focus on when we're playing with items. And my colleague, Dr. Clodagh, is going to talk more about these play skills later. Top tip number 13, we can use a visual schedule. Here's one schedule that I have used in the past for nighttime. And again, it's about making the communication routine. You're saying the same things every night. 1, change nappy, 2, pajamas on, 3, brush teeth. And even as you go through the items, it can be like, change nappy is finished. Time for pajamas on. And as you're using the same language every night, what you'll find is that your child starts to fill in. So you can be like, change nappy is, and you might get a finished, or you might get a sign, or a picture exchange perhaps, whatever the case may be. But again, using these visual schedules can help support those communicative responses. So it's really nice, and of course using visual schedules and having routines can be very effective for children with autism as well. Top tip number 14, I love you. So of course we always tell our children we love you, but how about we extend upon that and we say I love you because. So instead of just saying Mama loves Sarah or I love you, tell them why you love them. It's a good way to practice adjectives. It can build their self-esteem. It promotes positivity. So, it can be like, Mama loves Sarah because, Sarah is kind, Sarah is generous, Sarah shared her toys with her sister today, etc. Or I love you because you were this, you were that, you were the other. So again, really modeling how we should speak to loved ones. Top tip number 15, modeling I'm sorry. It's really important, a lot of parents can get into the trap of, say you're sorry if their child does something, makes a bad choice. But it's really important that when we make bad choices or if we do something wrong, that we practice what we preach and we say I'm sorry. And we don't just say I'm sorry and move off. We stay there and we say I'm sorry because I did this and that made you sad. Is there anything I can do to make you feel better? Can I give you a hug? So again, it's about modeling what we expect from our children and making sure that we are doing it. We are doing what we expect. So just a quick review, making their favorite items inaccessible, giving small portions, consuming favorite foods or drinks or playing with toys in front of them, creating the need for help, interrupting something fun, offering something that they don't like, offering a choice, purposefully sabotaging their expectations, surprising them, labeling emotions in the moment, reading and interacting, expanding on their communication, using visual schedules, expanding upon just the I love you to telling them why, and modeling I'm sorry. And just a last couple of tips. Don't forget, we always want to praise or reinforce talking. We want to praise immediately in the moment, try to get down at their eye level to give them that praise for their communication. Be specific to the behavior you are reinforcing. I really like the way you asked me for the spoon so nicely, rather than good job. So telling them why it is that you are so happy so that they're more likely to do it again. Vary your praise statement. Instead of just being good girl, good girl, good girl, again, change it up so that it doesn't lose its power. We don't want to overuse it. You want to hold it back so that when we do use it, it's super effective. And again, for setting up that environment, creating opportunities, knowing where they're at now and planning for, right, how can we make this communicative response even better? And most importantly, expect communication. Expect it. Don't preempt it. If you are always doing it for your child, then we can miss those valuable opportunities to teach. If you'd like to learn more about upcoming workshops, please visit our website at ecae.ac.ae/workshops. If you'd like to learn more about applied behavior analysis, we have a group on Facebook, which has almost 6,000 members. If you just simply search for ABA Middle East. So thank you so much. And here is my email address. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you and goodbye.